Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at warhammer.com. This video is sponsored by Sumo Games. More on that later. Warhammer.com is here, and the new home of the world's greatest miniatures. After decades of stalwart service, gamesworkshop.com and forgeworld.co.uk have both earned a well-deserved retirement. It's time for the home of the world's greatest miniature games to step into the bright new future on warhammer.com. So there's a little video right here. We're going to skip that and take a look at the full article. Warhammer.com is far more than just a name change. For the first time, the entire range of physical Warhammer products, including Citadel miniatures, Forgeworld resin, paints, glue, hobby tools, and Black Library books, will be available in one place. You can now order everything from towering titans to tiny termagants in one single basket, freed from the need to hop back and forth between web stores. Okay, so basically they have combined Forgeworld and Games Workshop's normal website into Warhammer.com. So now you can purchase everything from the single website rather than having to use multiple websites to make multiple purchases. And I'm just not really sure that there is much need for this, or if I see like the actual purpose. So I guess maybe the benefit is that they're only going to be hosting one website now, so it's going to save them some money, or maybe they can just like make that one website substantially better. So obviously I have had a bunch of problems in the past with like the bots and the scalpers when I'm trying to like buy things during the pre-release window when they first go live. A lot of times you'll get them into your cart and then Games Workshop's web store will crash. And by the time it like finally processes or goes through, a few minutes go by and whatever the item is out of stock. But to tell you the truth, when Games Workshop has implemented the queue system in the past, that has addressed the problem. Now I understand that they have to like pay a third-party person to run that queue system. So it is an extra cost that they could cut if they can somehow mitigate those issues on their own. But I'm just not sure that that's actually going to be the case. But so far, we can shop for the entire range of Warhammer miniatures in one place. You'll find loads of cool miniatures that we can't possibly fit on the shelves of your local Warhammer stores. Look for the online-only mark to order these. Okay, so basically, Games Workshop knows that stores are only going to be able to carry so much of their merchandise. So what they do is they pick out the things that are going to sell often, the most popular stuff, and then they put those in the actual like retail boxes with lots of like cool and colorful pictures. And then they also have a whole series of things as well that they don't have display packaging for. And it just comes in like a generic white box that says Warhammer on it. And those items are designated as online only. And the main difference is that one of them is obviously packaged for retail with the colorful packaging and all the cool pictures. The other is just made for people who know what they want, and it's not meant to necessarily be like displayed on store shelves. But the problem with this is there's not really like a rhyme or reason to which items they choose. I would imagine it has something to do with like popularity or sales, but a lot of times you see really popular items as online only. And I guess my main issue with this is that there is a price distinction in some cases. So when something is available online only and you go to purchase from a actual like third-party retailer, oftentimes they can't offer you that item, or they won't be able to offer you the same discount because Games Workshop does not give them the same discount. So the more items that Games Workshop lazily packages in the online only packaging, the worse it is for the customers. It's still completely free to have your order dispatched directly to your closest Warhammer store. We'll also include all import duties and taxes if you're shipping to the EU, so you know up front exactly what you're paying. Okay, so maybe that was a problem if you were in the EU before. You didn't know like what additional like shipping, taxes, or duties were going to get added on. I can't really like speak to that. If you've ever been caught out by a missing sprue or misshapen part, you'll know the customer service team go above and beyond to make sure we do right by you. And now the support you get is better than ever. In addition to replacing faulty or missing components wherever we can, you can now exchange any current available kit that you got directly from us with only a proof of purchase needed. Better still, this guarantee lasts for the entire lifetime of the current product. So as long as it's still available on our web store, we'll replace whatever needs replacing free of charge. Okay, so that has always been their policy. I'm not sure why they are trying to like spin this exactly. It seems like there's maybe some kind of agenda that they are trying to push out right here that we like as the consumer don't really understand. They're basically like addressing issues that don't really exist, or like trying to solve problems that we don't normally have. So this has always been their policy, at least for like the last 10 years. Basically, if you purchased anything from them directly, and the guarantee was always that you could exchange anything for either money back or a different product, as long as it was still available in the web store and part of the current range. So again, no actual improvement, no actual change, but there's some sort of agenda that they're getting at here. your all-new warhammer.com web store. There are only a few things you'll need to adjust before you can get the most out of warhammer.com. To make sure you've got up-to-date information for a smooth checkout, you'll need to reconfirm your address and payment details when you make your first purchase on the new web store. So that makes sense. Anytime something is changing or whatever, you definitely want to make sure that you have the right up-to-date shipping address. This is a great time to sort out your personal details. We wouldn't want your latest order going off to a mate you gifted a Battle Force 5 Christmases ago by mistake. Okay, so that doesn't actually make any sense. So let's just say that this hypothetical situation they've laid out here is true. 5 years ago, you gifted one of your mates a Battle Force and somehow never changed your address back. Well, that means one of two things happened. In the meantime, everything you have purchased for the last 5 years has went to this old mate of yours address, or that was the last thing you ever purchased from the online store and 5 years have gone by and you haven't purchased anything else, or else you would have already fixed this issue. So again, seems very, very strange that they're like going the route of addressing issues that don't actually exist. I can't help but think that Games Workshop is so out of touch with their customers that after reading this new article that's supposed to like spin the new website in some amazing new way, I can't even figure out what the purpose of it is. All right, so after taking a quick second to think about this, I'm starting to connect the dots as to what's going on here. So when I first started getting into Age of Sigmar, I had been playing 40K and fantasy and all that forever, and I finally decided I was only going to play like 40K based games because it was just too much trying to keep up with everything. Well, eventually I cratered and got into Sigmar as well, and when I was kind of like picking up various items throughout the range over time, on multiple occasions, I thought I was purchasing like a plastic miniature and didn't realize that it was actually like fine cast resin, which I didn't want because you guys know I absolutely despise resin for many, many reasons. But that being said, I'm starting to put two and two together here. So they combine everything together. Now there's a higher chance that you're going to accidentally buy something that's resin and that you might want to return it or have a bad experience. So then they highlight that as long as it's still part of the current range, you can exchange it, no questions asked, as long as you buy it directly from Games Workshop. So now you're incentivized to buy directly from them. A lot of the actual catalog has gone to web only, which incentivizes you to buy directly from them. And then by combining in all of the Forgeworld stuff, all the new resin stuff, if you accidentally order something resin and didn't mean to, no problem. We'll gladly swap it out as long as you order directly from us. So it really seems like this must be a more common problem than I realized. And by putting all the Forgeworld resin in with the regular Games Workshop stuff, it's definitely going to become an even bigger problem. So they're trying to basically get in front of it by saying, hey, don't worry, just in case this thing happens. So I'm definitely interested to jump over to the actual store and see how clearly they mark things as resin in an attempt to stop people from accidentally purchasing them. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now back to the video. All right, so here is the actual Warhammer new website, warhammer.com, and I'm on the US page. And right off the bat, I can't stand this. It definitely reminds me of that kind of new trying to appeal to the TikTok crowd. I mean, the images, like videos flashing on the screen every like 2 seconds is just far too much for a normal person. Now, if we do scroll on down here, we can see some kind of stuff jumping out there. Some of the new items here. We do have prices like clearly shown. All right, so Warhammer 40K, shop 40K. Let's check it out. Let's pretend like we're going to go in here and buy some Space Marines. So Warhammer 40K, Space Marines. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Jump over here. And then let's switch our filter and we'll go to sort by and let's go for price descending. So we want to see some expensive stuff. We want to take a look at the Forgeworld and see how clearly they warn us about the resin. So right off the bat also, I'm going to tell you, if I was new to Games Workshop and I was jumping over here to see like Warhammer and check out all the cool stuff, maybe I saw a video game, maybe I saw some people playing at a mall or game store or something like that, and I decided, hey, I'm going to go check this out, I would not want to see the Forgeworld stuff right off the bat. And if I was Games Workshop, I wouldn't want people to see those Forgeworld prices right off the bat because I think the shock factor of it could legitimately scare away what could potentially be a customer. And they're not going to be able to tell right off the bat just how big a Thunderhawk gunship is. What they're going to be able to tell is the price is $890. All right, so this is pretty cool. Definitely some nice imagery or whatever. I'm not sure if these are new pictures or anything, but when I scroll down here, what I would want to see right off the bat is just a big warning that says this model is resin, experience use only. If you're not familiar with the differences between plastic and resin, please look into it more. Just some kind of like warning for people. Because there is a huge distinction, not only in like the quality of the kits and how well they go together, how much prep time goes into them, how easily like the parts fit together without seams or green stuff being necessary. There's just a lot more to resin than plastic. And the last thing I would want somebody to do is not be experienced in the hobby and suddenly be thrown into the pit with a expensive resin kit. So let's scroll on down here and see what we got going on. Iconic airborne Lords of War choice for Legionnaire Astartes army, heavily armored with potent weaponry. Okay, so we've got some bullet points right here that literally mean nothing. Bear dozens of troops through the skies aboard a swift gunship. This resin model kit is collectible item in construction, should only be undertaken by expert Warhammer hobbyists age 15 years and over. So it's the fourth bullet point, and it definitely doesn't stand out to me. And if I was like new to the page or whatever, this would just seem like 3 BS bullet points in a row. Call it 4. And then scrolling down here, okay, so the price like jumps up on your face. We can see like a little description about it. This kit comprises 112 resin components. Says what books you need to actually play it. Yeah, I don't like it. I definitely just feel like this is going to create more feel bad moments for people because the word resin is mentioned 2 total times in all these pages with all these pop-ups and everything going on. And it just definitely seems like people are going to end up making the same mistake as I did. And that's from somebody that has been in the hobby, in the games for like 30 plus years and still has on multiple occasions accidentally purchased resin from Games Workshop and been real salty about it. So I guess that's it. That's why they're leaning in extra hard on the policy to make sure hey, look, if you do accidentally purchase some resin stuff, send it on back. We got you. Which is good. And that should be the policy regardless. It's definitely not a new policy. But I understand now why they're spinning it so hard. So what is the actual purpose of this? Why did Games Workshop combine Forgeworld and Games Workshop into warhammer.com? I think the only thing that jumps out at me is one, hosting a single website would be easier, but it's not that expensive to actually pay for a website, especially when you consider the amount of money Games Workshop is making. It doesn't seem particularly well designed or amazing. The old website was really nice. Maybe this is more of an image thing. Now, obviously, Warhammer is super popular. Everybody loves the lore. It's super cool. Most people have heard of it from the video game series or from the tabletop games, etc. And I think overall it has positive connotations. Now, obviously, if you spend some time on the internet or you talk to the wrong neckbeard or something like that, they're going to have plenty of bad stuff to say about Warhammer. But typically, the bad stuff is actually more affiliated to the name Games Workshop, the company name, the corporate name, and less with Warhammer. So in my opinion, getting away from gamesworkshop.com and going towards warhammer.com is sort of like a rebranding. You're leaning in on the product that everyone likes and then kind of stepping back with the corporate name that has a terrible reputation. And if you don't know the horrible reputation and all the reasons that people hate Games Workshop as a company, if you got an hour, we can talk about it. Maybe that's what they're doing is they're trying to get a little bit away from the Games Workshop name because it does have a lot of negative connotations and lean in more on the Warhammer name. I'm honestly not sure. We'll have to see over time. I don't see any positive changes out of this. I've never been like, oh man, I wish I could order all my Forgeworld stuff right here at gamesworkshop.com as well. Now I have to go to a whole nother website and click 4 times to purchase my Forgeworld stuff. So again, I'm just not really sure what the purpose of this is. The article, they definitely tried to spin it in a couple of ways. I do think that a lot of what they were talking about in that article was addressing when people accidentally purchase things in resin that they didn't want. But maybe that's because it hits close to home with me. And that really is the only thing I could kind of piece together from that article. But I don't know. You guys let me know down below. Always like to hear what you have to say in the comments. Maybe I missed something here. Maybe there's some massive overarching positive that's going to come from this. But I doubt it. So special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check them out to save 15% on Games Workshop products. Link in the description. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man. And I don't know what the purpose of this actually is, but I'm kind of glad that Forgeworld is gone forever. And I'm out of here.